This is ESPN College Football, brought to you in part by the Samsung QLED TV, the official TV of ESPN College Football. A perfect night for football in Annapolis. Perfect mostly because there is football, and these days, that's not to be taken lightly or for granted. BYU and Navy open their seasons in a game that's only been on the schedule for about a month. And there will be challenges tonight. The stage is different, quieter, no fans in the stands. The Cougars and midshipmen get set to square off in this bizarre season that has already made an impact far beyond the field.
On this Labor Day, our mandate is clear.
We will be seen. We will be heard. We will be seen. We will be heard.
To work together.
And the world, for generations to come, will be different. It'll be better.
For progress, for change, for ourselves, for each other. We believe in the power of combined effort.
It's not really about what you want. It's about what you're willing to do to get it.
To make life better for us all, there is so much more to do.
Somebody give me something to believe.
One day, one army.
On a day set aside to honor hard work and the men and women who devote their lives to it. Let's recommit to confront the challenges we face.
Work on 3, 1, 2, 3.
That we may look back on this difficult year and see a job well done.
Somebody give me something to believe.
Welcome to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Ram Trucks. Tonight in Annapolis, Maryland, Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. BYU taking on the midshipmen of Navy. Not sure that we parachuted into this season with the precision of the Blue Angels, but here we are, and we are most grateful to have you with us inside our socially distanced and open-air booth. Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit here. Stage may be different, but these players, Kirk, so desperately wanted a season. There is energy on the two teams.
There is. I mean, you have an empty stadium, but I'm hyped up. I know you're hyped up. You imagine how these players feel? They've been working so hard to get to this moment, navigated those waters, made a lot of sacrifices, and they're here tonight to open up their season. I'm fired up for them.
You know, this is only the third time that Navy and BYU have played, but the connections between the two programs run deep, including the two head coaches tonight, Ken Niumatalolo of Navy and Kalani Sitake of BYU, both from the same hometown in Hawaii on the North Shore, Laie. Ken's a little bit older, but these two, while the schemes may be different, the philosophies are very similar.
Yeah, they are similar, and one of the concerns they both have is they just haven't been able to hit much. They didn't have much at all of spring ball throughout COVID and into camp. They haven't been able to hit much in practice, and really for Navy, that's a bigger concern because of coming into this game tonight, very sophisticated, complex scheme. They haven't tackled. So tonight, that first series you watch, when they're trying to defend this BYU offense, first time that they're going to wrap up and bring someone to the ground.
That's unusual. I don't know that I ever remember or have ever heard of a season when that's the case. It's something that Ken Niumatalolo did to try to protect his team. For Kalani Sitake, he's happy to have his quarterback back and healthy this year in Zach Wilson.
I love the potential of what Zach Wilson can do as a quarterback. He's coming back as his third year. Now he's had a lot of injuries, had a shoulder as a freshman, had a thumb last year. He's been healthy this offseason, made a big commitment to really work to get stronger. He's up to about 215 pounds, 15 pounds more muscle. And I said during the quarantine, what do you do to get better? He said he drove all the way to Los Angeles from Provo to work with a former BYU quarterback who's kind of one of these quarterback gurus, John Beck, and he made that sacrifice to improve his game. Now he's got to work in some new receivers, but I'm telling you, if one has time to throw, he can make every throw you'd ask of him.
So BYU, in his 10th year as an independent, lost 10 of its originally scheduled 12 games once the pandemic altered the schedules. Putting together a schedule, and they open against the midshipmen coming up tonight.
You're watching the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
And you're watching the American Athletic Conference on ESPN. Navy, a member of the American taking on independent BYU. Allison Williams on a much different sideline for us tonight. Allison?
It really is, Reese. But, you know, both of these teams have taken extensive measures to make this environment as safe as possible to play this football game in light of COVID-19. And it began with both teams. When the players arrived, they quarantined. BYU practiced with face shields on their helmets, and they've been testing their players 3 times a week. For Navy, they're testing twice a week, and they have really limited contact. No tackling in practice, virtual meetings, no use of the team locker room. But the good news is it's working. Both teams report that 0 players will miss this game because of a COVID-19 illness. But yeah, it looks different. Guys are wearing face coverings. The sidelines have been extended by 20 yards to give teams more space to spread themselves out. But the biggest thing is it's empty. The Naval Academy's waiver to have the Brigade of Midshipmen here at the game was denied by the state of Maryland. So there's not that energy present. It feels different. Guys were trying to hype each other up pregame. But Cameron Kinley from Navy said it best. It's weird that nobody's here, but we know everybody's watching at home, and a national stage, that's all the energy you need.
And if you hold the proper rank, perhaps you can sneak in and take a little peek, but no fans here as BYU won the toss and will defer to the second half. You've got a few with enough rank to watch as Chance Warren and Miles Fells are deep to return the opening kickoff for the Naval Academy. Jake Oldroyd from BYU, number 39, will put toe to leather. BYU wondered about its season, and now it is underway. It will be Warren who signals for the fair catch, and the midshipmen will start on their 25 as Dylan Morris, the senior quarterback from Huntsville, Alabama, who has never thrown a pass in a game and carried it only 5 times in his Navy career, gets a start.
Well, I can't wait to watch him. Think about this. He entered camp with everything else going on with COVID. He enters camp behind Perry Olson, who beat him out a year ago. And instead of sulking about that, he went to work, got better, won the job during camp. And as a senior, he's about to take his first snap as a starting quarterback.
And he's replacing the great Malcolm Perry, who just made the Miami Dolphins as a running back and ran for over 2,000 yards as a quarterback. First carry of the season goes to Jamel Carruthers, who burst onto the scene and had a huge year for the midshipmen a year ago. As we take a look at the Chick-fil-A impact players.
Yeah, we're going to start with Carruthers. That's the important part of this triple option. They want to establish him up the middle, 34. He's got great speed. Another guy that's kind of paid his dues, Miles Fells. Keep an eye on him, 23 as a slot back. Tonga on the inside, 95, is incredibly physical. And Troy Warner, the brother of Fred Warner, is in the back end to provide leadership.
And Carruthers picks up about 3 to the 30, but flags fly quickly.
Yeah, you had 2 guys moving in the backfield there for Navy at the same time.
Our officiating crew tonight from the Big 12, Kevin Marr is our white hat.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 players moving at the same time. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
You don't see Ken Niumatalolo's team be penalized very often in his tenure as head coach. Navy has finished below the top 2 in penalties per game just 1 time, and that was 9th.
One way to slow this triple option attack down is get them behind the sticks. There they are, 2nd and long.
And again, back to the fullback as Carruthers has another carry. Navy will be very patient with that run game, though Morris came out of a high school much more noted as a passer. In fact, his senior year didn't take a single snap under center.
Yeah, and threw for over 5,000 yards. I'd love to see how many Navy triple option quarterbacks that have come here to play in this offense threw for over 5,000 yards in high school in their career.
Motion from Fells, and we'll get a chance to see Morris. He has to escape some pressure. That is where Malcolm Perry was so dangerous a year ago, and Morris can certainly run, but not many can make the electrifying moves that Perry did a year ago, and it'll be 4th down.
And again, get him behind the sticks. Get him into 3rd and obvious. Make them throw when you know they're going to throw. And it's a good job of using Kafusi there as a spy to take away the potential scramble. And you're right. Last year, Malcolm Perry, he picked up a lot of yards on those scrambles when he dropped back to throw. That time, not the case for Morris.
Perry set an FBS record rushing yards by a quarterback with over 2,000 last year as Daniel Davies gets the punt away. And Dax Milne is clearing all of the Cougars away, but a very good members bounce for the Mids here in their home field. And that punt will go 46 yards with no return. BYU is led by Zach Wilson. Wilson has battled injuries. He was the youngest starting quarterback in BYU history, just barely 19 years old. Missed 4 games last year with a broken hand, but even beyond that, Kirk, he was really coming back from a shoulder injury. Really, the entire season didn't have his customary zip on the ball.
No, they just said he never was back at 100%. That's why they're so excited about where he is this year, having that entire offseason to get stronger and taking advantage of that time alone where he got extra work in. Even by himself, he was able to work and train.
You're going to see BYU go to the air line. We see what Wilson's got on it as he's taking a deep shot, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Gunnar Romney. It's an excellent coverage by Micah Farrar.
Boy, that's a great matchup here early in this game. Farrar can fly as a corner. He's in pretty good position there, but that ball got behind him. Pretty good position by the corner, but great placement by the football, by the football there by the quarterback Wilson. Romney, a guy that's got to really step up. They lost their top 3 receivers. He's got to become the guy that's that vertical threat.
2nd down and 10. Cougars will go to the ground, and it's Lopini Katoa. Cougars a little bit thin at running back, but a good pickup on 2nd down from Katoa.
We've talked so much here early in this broadcast about Zach Wilson, and I really think the potential strength of this offense could be the offensive line. They're all back. They've all started. They're veterans. They're big. They're physical. Jeff Grimes is a offensive line kind of guy, so he prides himself on just kind of imposing his will on a defense, and that's a good start for them there on that first run.
Grimes, the offensive coordinator at BYU, an offensive coordinator for the head coach Kalani Sitake. Grimes' background at LSU was part of Gene Chiswick's staff, the national championship with Auburn in 2010, and a fly sweep that Grimes likes to run. The quick hitter in Milton lost his footing, but still enough to pick up the first down.
Take a look at that offensive line that we talked about. They run tempo, but it's not the kind of breakneck tempo that you see in college football and around the country. But look at Christensen, who's been around. MP is his 27th start tonight. Just an outstanding player. Is able to recognize a pretty complex defense from Navy. He's going to make a lot of calls and make sure everybody's in position and be able to pick certain blitzes up from Navy tonight.
Wilson fired for Romney. Had a lot of juice on that pass. Gunner couldn't pull it in.
It almost looked like he was just hurrying that a little bit. He came back, and you could see Romney settled, and he thought he was going to continue. Romney there feeling and kind of sensing zone, just try to sit in the soft spot of that zone. A little miscommunication there. It's one thing to work diligently in the summer as quarterback and receiver. It's another thing without a lot of scrimmages because of COVID to be able to get out here and start executing against a real defense.
On 2nd and 10, Tyler Algier has played all over the place for the Cougars in at running back, and he has the football. And Algier with a tough run and up across the 40-yard line. They'll bring up 3rd down.
I don't know if the fans are enjoying the sideline annex as much as I am, but you know, without 50,000 people in these stadiums this year in college football, one of the things you're going to get used to is you're going to hear a lot of energy from the sidelines, from the players, and the reactions after a big hit or a big block or a nice run.
3rd down and 5. I'm talking to some of the BYU players. They were looking forward to that. And Algier's got the first down and gets it into Navy territory as a flag flies in. I was talking with some of the BYU players. Kyrus Tonga, the defensive lineman, said, looking forward to hearing some of the things that were said. Be careful to keep it clean.
Yeah,
13.
Exactly. That came in there late. You wonder. Yeah, face mask.
Face mask. Defense number 7. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Kevin Brennan hit for the penalty. Already the 2nd penalty for the midshipman tonight. There it is.
Yeah, Brennan coming in late. Actually, as Algier was going down, but there's that offensive line. You know, they've been challenged not just tonight, but this year, in leading the way of toughness, mental and physical toughness for this entire team with having those veterans. And a lot of guys have been beaten up over their careers, They're now finally all healthy, and they've got that continuity to work together.
Seventh play of BYU's initial possession. They've moved it 40 yards so far. Algier's really been running well, and Algier has some room to be outside. Algier headed to the end zone, and did he get the pylon? He did. Touchdown BYU. 34 yards.
And they brought the blitz from the outside. You'll see 11 come in here, takes himself really out of the play, and then he bounces it and gets a nice block by the wide receiver there, Romney, and then he just has the speed to be able to get to the corner. But Navy brought the blitz from the field in the right position, but the angle that he came in took himself out of the play. And a good job again by that offensive line, winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, gave him that crease to be able to bounce that to the outside.
Oldroyd on for the extra point. And you have to wonder how much the lack of scrimmaging, at least in the early going, has impacted the Navy defense. BYU, impressive opening drive. If you had BYU dominating in the early part of the first quarter on the ground, you're a winner. 59 rush yards, no passing yards on that 7-play, 74-yard drive, aided by a penalty, and the Cougars take their opening possession of the season and march it right down and go up 7-0.
Yeah, taking control of that line of scrimmage and had a couple drops, but they didn't need any passing yards. It was all on the ground, as you said, 59 yards total, averaging about a little over 8 yards a carry.
The second kickoff of the night coming for Jake Oldroyd. Navy sending a couple of their slot backs, starting slot backs tonight, Chance Warren and Miles Fells back to return. And option offense will get a second go of it. Oldroyd sends it deep. Navy will let it go in, and they'll start on the 25 as we take a closer look at that last TD to the progressive pylon cam.
Yeah, they tried to bring a safety blitz here, but really it's the block here by the left guard that gets up to the second level. Watch Clark Barrington get up, hits the linebacker, then he's able to bounce that to the outside. I'm telling you, these backs on that first drive had creases to work with, and this is a very talented Navy defense. You take a look at the progressive pylon cam as he goes into the end zone. That's a good shot there. Off to a great start with the progressive pylon cam. A Superman leap from Algier. Now Navy will try to see if they can establish something. Morris pulls it out, and I tell you, the Cougars said they hadn't had a lot of experience with the option. First few plays have gone well defending it. Yeah, that's assignment football. He has the dive, and he's going to have the quarterback. Watch the assignment here. Boom, he comes down, collapses. Quarterback's going to come to the outside. Now they pick him up right there. That's really well done by BYU's defense.
Elisa Tuiaki, the defensive coordinator, the Cougars, was very honest. Asked him how much experience do you have against the option. He said 0. Morris is being chased and had to just get rid of it. And his first collegiate pass was one just to try to avoid a loss. He's fortunate it wasn't intercepted. Pepe Canavasa, the former Navy linebacker who transferred to BYU after 1 year playing for the midshipmen, was in there.
Keep in mind, this is a BYU defense that the last couple years have not been able to get pressure on the quarterback. Last year, 111th in the nation with only 17 sacks. And here early, I know it's Navy. They're known for running the ball, but they're doing a good job that when Navy does throw, they're getting pressure and making Morris feel uncomfortable. Now they got him again at 3rd and long, like in the first series.
Morris never had a chance. BYU's defensive line is dominating. That is Zach Daw, the senior from Pleasant Grove, Utah.
Look at this. Look at the line of scrimmage. Watch this battle up here. Maybe their biggest concern was the size and dealing with. Look how he just gets off the block, uses his hands, gets off the block. And Morris, again, he wants to get around that. That block needs to be sustained. He wants to option the end man on the line of scrimmage, but he can't get there because of the play of the big fellas. That time it was Tonga who leads them on that defensive line.
Daniel Davies with his second punt. He was a Cougar relatively close, and
boy.
Disrupted the kick, and BYU is going to get it in excellent field position, just short of midfield. Cougars up 7-0, almost halfway through the first.
ESPN College Football is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Ram, built to serve. And in part by Wingstop. Order delivery now at wingstop.com, where flavor gets its wings.
This is just the third meeting between BYU and Navy. The most recent one, 1989, Ty Detmer at 353 yards passing as the Cougars 131-10. And that first meeting was the first ever Holiday Bowl, Kirk. Navy won that game. You saw Phil McConkey with the Most Valuable Player trophy. Remember McConkey played in the NFL? Do you know who recruited Phil McConkey to come to the Naval Academy?
Lee Corso, I'm guessing.
That is not right.
Guess. Okay.
No, Steve Belichick.
Oh.
Bill Belichick's father, who is a legend here in Annapolis, and we're expecting to visit with Bill Belichick in the second half of our game tonight. Back to the ground go the Cougars, and this time Navy was there to get things started with Lotini Katoa getting met right at midfield. BYU's top pass receivers, tight end Matt Bushman, a week ago, he ruptured his Achilles tendon, had surgery on Friday, posted this photo to Instagram. The Cougars really had to revamp their entire passing attack in terms of primary receivers because Jeff Grimes had everything designed to try to make Bushman the main target.
Yeah, as you said earlier, send our best to him and his expecting wife, and hopefully a speedy recovery. I know it'll be a challenge to get back, but he has the kind of fortitude to be able to push forward. Led the Cougars in receiving the last 3 years.
And had a chance maybe to go into the draft last year. Really hate to see that, to get an injury to such a fine player. Excellent grab by Dax Milne as Wilson showing that improved arm strength.
Yeah.
And picking up the first down. He can spin it now.
Yeah, good timing there. And Milne is a former walk-on known for his outstanding hands. Does a good job of reaching out there and coming up with that catch for the first down.
Pickup of 11 yards. First 11 passing yards for Wilson tonight.
This Navy defense was such a strength for them a year ago. They need to kind of step up and make some plays here.
Katoa is getting into the secondary. He's got a chance to go, and now each of the two BYU running backs have found the end zone, and they are absolutely gashing the midshipmen in the early going. A 39-yard touchdown run.
Watch the left guard, really watch the entire offensive line, but watch the left guard again, Barrington. Watch him just open that up. You talk about clearing it out. I mean, that is this offensive line is having their way in these first two drives of this Navy defense. He's progressive pylon cam. Did he get across? Looks like he's right there at the line as that knee touches. I think touchdown.
I think you got a few pebbles of the sanitized football.
The previous play is under further review. Rolling on the field is a touchdown.
We'll take another peek, see when that knee touches. Be tough from this angle to see. Go back to the progressive pylon cam. I think was probably the best angle. He's still up. Touches there. Yeah.
Ball's in, right?
Touchdown. Yeah. I just can't get away. I mean, anymore in college football, it's about playing in space. It's about the passing game, the receivers, the quarterback. Once in a while, you get a week where you get a chance to really get a throwback kind of game with offensive line play and running backs and running downhill. Jeff Grimes has this offensive line and this running game working tonight so far here in Annapolis.
Kirk, BYU last year averaged about 159 yards per game on the ground. They're already at 100 yards, and we're barely past the halfway mark of the first quarter.
And Navy knew coming in that their concern was size at the line of scrimmage, and their answer was, we're aggressive, we're multiple, we're going to try to confuse them, we're going to move, we're going to bring backers up, we're going to move safeties up. And that's great if you get into the backfield to make tackles, but it's also can be detrimental if you don't make those plays and all of a sudden there's no one back there left to make a tackle.
This game for BYU and their next game against Army, their marquee games on the schedule, as we are about to hear from Kevin Marr once we get the mask situation settled.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
Yeah.
So you got the touchdown. And my point, Kirk, these two games against Navy and Army, probably the marquee games on BYU's schedule. Their original schedule prior to the pandemic: Utah, Michigan State, Minnesota, Missouri, Arizona State, Stanford. I mean, they would have had a chance to really prove themselves.
And now read it.
Well, now it's a little bit different. It's Navy, Army, Troy, Texas, San Antonio. There is a game against Houston that could be a tough one. Texas State, Western Kentucky, North Alabama.
Be an interesting discussion. If
you say nothing?
Well, I just want to see how this game ends. There's a long way to go, but it's obviously you lose the opportunity, as you said, to be able to make your case every week. But they look good so far tonight.
All you can do is play who winds up on your schedule, and thus far BYU is doing it brilliantly, up 14-0 early. Season ratchets up a bit more on Saturday. Trevor Lawrence and #1 Clemson taking on Wake Forest, 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 on the West Coast on ABC and the ESPN app. Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Trevor Lawrence's lone loss as a starter, the national championship game against LSU last year. Talked to Trevor a few days ago. Said it took him a couple weeks to get over the game, as you would expect, but he's really focused on where he could get better, which begged the question to me. I said, exactly where would that be, Trevor? He's a special guy that you'll get a chance to see against Wake Forest on Saturday night.
You know, down 14, no Malcolm Perry. You got a young inexperienced quarterback. I think you got to establish that fullback. You know, Carruthers is special. He's number 34. Not only is he powerful, but he brings speed. He's got a different gear. He averaged over 6 yards a carry, can catch the ball out of the backfield, but I feel like Navy's still kind of trying to feel this game out at the line of scrimmage and come up with some answers, and I think one of them would be trying to get that fullback 34, Carruthers, going. You know, they want to live in that 2nd and 6 and 3rd and 2 world. In these first two series, it's been 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 9. That's not the recipe for their style of offense.
And Carruthers was a guy that they really discovered. He started last season on the junior varsity team, something of a unique thing here, really at all academies. Niumatalolo noticed he was running 21 miles per hour on the GPS catapult system on the kickoff team and said, hey, we need to use this guy, and he burst onto the scene, had some great games as Chance Warren found the edge. Really the first time tonight, Kirk, that Navy's been able to get the ball in the corner.
Yeah, and just his reputation, Carruthers' reputation, opened up that to get the ball to the outside, and right tackle Honecker steps out. Looks like he could be okay, just stepping out there for a moment. But yeah, they you know, again, 4 or 5 yards. That's what they're looking for. It's an offense that wants to possess the ball, kind of take the air out of the ball and keep BYU's offense on the sideline. It's not been how this thing has gone early for Navy.
Honecker, who went to the sidelines, one of the tri-captains for the midshipmen. 2nd down and 5. Fullback does is Carruthers. Pops into the middle, and now they are in the type of situation down a distance that you're talking about, Kirk. 3rd and 2. And they're also not shy about going for it on 4th down, too, if need be.
Yeah, and Coach Jasper, the offensive coordinator, Coach Niumatalolo, he obviously has been around. It takes him a series or two to kind of figure out what's happening. Everybody tries to defend this offensive style differently, and right now they're just trying to come up with some answers on how to counterpunch BYU's defense. But this is where they want to live, in that 3rd and short.
And they give to the fullback again, and they are establishing him, just as you said, Kirk, and it's the first down of the night for the midshipmen.
It may not be sexy, but this is throwback football. They overload the left side and just looking for 3 or 4 yards there to be able to pick up that 1st down. First time we've seen a little bit of offensive rhythm here for Navy. Yeah, the fullback moved, Carruthers moved.
Offense number 34. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
A rare occurrence. I mentioned earlier how unusual it is to see the mids get penalized a lot, and already they're 3rd here in the 1st quarter.
And as good as Carruthers is, they have a backup in Nelson Smith, who's a senior out of Baton Rouge. He got beat out last year when you mentioned Carruthers took over. He didn't. Another guy didn't pout. He just kept working and kept being a positive influence. They like to give him a chance to run the ball too.
And Smith is hit hard. Kairos Tonga, the big defensive lineman, senior who came back to finish his degree, and out of loyalty to Hilani Sataki, makes a stop on the fullback.
Yeah, and he's right here. And again, this is how you disrupt the option. Nose guard. He's trying to read the man to the outside of the guard, and the nose guard comes in getting off a block to make a play. Tonga's a force in the middle.
And a good pull by Morris as he rode the fullback and picked up 4.
Imagine Navy's offense right now, right? You're playing a very physical front from BYU. You're down 14, which is not something that's like a virus to their computer, right? And you don't have Malcolm Perry, who was everything to this offense a year ago, who incidentally made the Miami Dolphins roster.
So with the penalty for the movement, it's still a 3rd and long, even after the 4-yard pickup. 3rd down and 8. And again, back to the fullback, Nelson Smith getting another carry. And Smith gets up to about the 43. That's a pickup of just a couple. It's 4th down and 6.
And even when Tonga and company aren't getting off of blocks, they're holding on to those offensive linemen and letting the linebackers come downhill untouched and make plays on the fullback. Those linebackers are flying downhill.
And Navy kept its offense on the field on 4th down, given the momentum of the game and Niumatalolo's penchant for going for it on 4th down. Let's see if he sticks with it, Allison.
Well, guys, we've been hearing plenty of this here lately. That's a new electronic whistle that officials are using. So much has changed in the era of COVID-19. Obviously, a traditional whistle isn't going to work wearing face covering. So these are the electronic whistles they're using now. Here's what's interesting. They're handheld. Now, most of the officials have been wearing them in a pack on their belt, but they made it really difficult to hear in previous games. So some of them are actually carrying them. So they have a lot to juggle, right, between throwing the flag, signaling the call, and pushing their whistle button. The officials on this crew are all from the Big 12. This is their first game they have worked, but they've all worked 5 to 10 scrimmages in preparation for this and to adjust to these new electronic whistles, which really is an adjustment for everybody. Hopefully they don't hear this one and like start responding to it.
You're okay. We still have a dead ball, Allison. You're good. So, you know, that one of the things initially the officials thought they wouldn't carry them in their hands for fear of inadvertent whistles, which is one thing that the officiating crew wants to avoid. And there is the whistle to signal ball in play. And Niumatalolo has decided to punt it and see if his defense can get a stop. It's a low punt that Milne will come in and grab right at his 25-yard line, 32-yard punt. And the fair catch, he'll mark it at the 26. And let's take a look at tonight's game flow, brought to you by Progressive.
Well, the game flow has been this offense, and specifically the running game and the offensive line. BYU has controlled things. Look at the line. They're controlling things up front, allowing them to get up to the linebackers at that second level and giving these backs room to work. Boy, Barrington's having a night, the left guard, doing a very good job. Just puts BYU back, see, make them at least work a little bit harder. That last possession, they started around midfield.
Wilson down the middle, and it's picked off. Evan Foxman with the interception, and the midshipmen have been looking for a break, and they've got one after the interception by Foxman.
Boy, Navy, great job of being heads up by a veteran there in Foxman. Watch the end of the route by Powell, number 2. He actually stumbles right near the end of this route as he comes across. He goes down, and by going down, the ball is thrown pretty accurately. But by losing his footing, he actually tripped there with the linebacker, Fago. And the veteran Foxman there ends up coming up with the interception. Navy's in business.
A huge play. And there is one of the get 6 chains. Ryan Newberry, the defensive coordinator, will detail that in a minute as Chance Warren wants to throw the halfback pass, and the ball's out. And now an opportunity for BYU to get it right back. Instead, it's a huge negative play, but Navy at least got the ball back, as getting in there to grab it was big number 75, on there to grab it. Sean Rattay. Isaiah Kafusi was the one that knocked it free.
Right there, let it go. I mean, and now keep in mind, you're thinking he's a slot back. You know, he's not experienced. This guy's played a lot of positions. He's been a quarterback. He's been a slot back. He's been a running back. He's done a lot. He's been a receiver. But he's got to let that ball go. And if he's not comfortable with the receiver, obviously just throw it away.
Chance Warren was on the receiving end of a similar looking play that ended up working in the Liberty Bowl last year when they decided to go for it on a 4th down. It was C.J. Williams, who's out tonight with an injury, threw it to Chance Warren that ended up setting up the game-winning field goal. Bijan Nichols knocked it through.
Looks like Coach Tuiaki, the defensive coordinator from BYU, happened to study that film. He got his boys ready to defend that. Good discipline. They took the receiver down the field away and got the pressure again.
There is C.J. Williams, who threw that pass, an upper body injury keeping him out tonight. So the sack is a 15-yard loss. And Dalen Morris, a quick out pattern, and Dalen with the first completion of his Navy career.
Well, they had great field position after getting off to such a slow start. They started at the BYU 33-yard line. And as we've talked a lot about, they're not equipped to get behind the sticks. 2nd long and now 3rd and very, very long. As good as Morris can throw the ball, you know, they just don't have the playbook to be able to attack on these 3rd and long situations.
Option look, and now Morris stumbles, gets away from some pressure, has to get rid of it, and he doesn't, just throws it out of bounds, and it'll be 4th down and 19.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's 3rd and 19, and they're running a freeze option off the line, play action pass that didn't fool the BYU secondary. There's no one open downfield. But again, it's just they want to live in those 3rd and short situations and kind of pass on their terms.
So BYU's defense answers with a big negative play to offset the interception from Evan Fachman, and now Navy from the BYU 42 is just lining up in punt formation. Milne signals for the fair catch, and he'll make it maybe a step just across his 10-yard line, maybe 11, and BYU, after the 31-yard punt, has the ball back at the 11. 51st season of Monday Night Football kicks off. Annual Week 1 doubleheader. Roethlisberger is back, and the Steelers taking on Saquon Barkley and the Giants 7 Eastern. Then we'll go to Denver for the Titans and the Broncos. Both games on ESPN, Deportes, and ESPN app. Special edition of Monday Night Countdown kicks off the coverage at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Herbie, you're going up to do some games in this league and see how Big Ben's doing, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a chance to watch Ben and the Steelers and the Giants. It'll be a great game.
Algier had the first touchdown across the 15.
If you're Jeff Grimes, you're the play caller and offensive line coach for BYU, and your offense is off to this kind of start in the first quarter, you just threw a pick. I don't know, but I may just ride that offensive line for a few plays. Get out of this hole that I'm in right now, inside my own 20.
You've heaped praise, and rightfully so, on the left guard Clark Barrington, number 56. Grimes named him the player of the camp.
Yeah.
Brought it to the game to Algier across the 20, and he'll have the first down. We go to Allison.
Reese, Ken Niumatalolo told us he didn't know if his team was ready football-wise and if they could even get out there and really tackle effectively. And I think that's what you were seeing early from Navy. The message to the linebackers especially was not to panic, to play through this, just do your job. They were told, guys, we got to clean things up and just get that engine running. They have not live tackled in months.
And the task is very, very tall tonight against this BYU. Not just the backs, but again the physical nature of the line.
Wilson zips it into Dax Milne. Milne up to the 40-yard line. It's another BYU first down, pickup of 18.
Look at the Navy defense. Look at the secondary, the linebackers. They're so locked in. Even when he just flashed to play action, the safety's late in coming over, Fachman, because they're so concerned about that running game. So now you got one-on-one chances. Heck of a route there by Dax Milne coming back, and the timing is perfect there with a quarterback, Zach Wilson, to number 5 again.
Kirk, we've talked a lot about the no live tackling, but also no good on the line of scrimmage, and that seems to me to have been as much of an issue. It's not as if there have been a ton of missed tackles necessarily, but the lines have been dominant on both sides for the Cougars.
Timeout. BYU.
And BYU.
Their first charge of the half. 30 seconds in length.
First timeout, and it is just under a minute to play here in the first quarter. It has really been an impressive start for the Cougars. So what's your reaction? I know you don't know what to expect anytime in a first game, and there's always the complicating factors of COVID-19.
Yeah.
What's your reaction, what you've seen so far?
My reaction is BYU is their experience and veteran leadership in the offseason during quarantine, and they told us coming in how impressed. They said, believe it or not, we're kind of surprised we're as far along as we are based on the way we've looked in practice. That goes, you got a quarterback that's been around 3 years as a starter. You've got an offensive line, 8 different guys have started. So they've got a lot of experience on that side of the ball at key areas. And I think that's been on display here in this first quarter, is the maturity and experience of key positions on that offense.
But BYU, as it often is, a little bit older team, a little over 60% of the roster has been on a church mission for the Church of Latter-day Saints. And is back to the ground late in the first quarter. And it is Lopini Katoa, who has a touchdown run tonight, stopped by Cameron Kinley, pick up a 5.
And these backs are running hard too. You know, we've talked so much about the line, but it's been a nice rotation. Staying fresh, running with some passion, some hunger. When you get the offensive line and the running game going, it's exactly what Grimes wants. That way he can get the play action pass game off of that. They complement each other very well.
This may be the final play of the first quarter, depending on what happens. Back to the ground, and they are just riding that offensive line as you had anticipated. They pick up a 4 for Katoa. It'll bring up a 3rd and 1 as we get set to start the second quarter from Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, where the first quarter has belonged to the visiting Cougars of BYU. They started camp not even knowing who they were going to play in the opener. Boy, they've answered the bell so far. Start of the second quarter in Annapolis. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Ram Trucks, as we continue Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. Goat cutouts, and we've gotten accustomed to cutouts in stands of sporting events, but the real Bill the Goat, either 36 nor 37, the Navy Live Goat mascot, in the stadium tonight. They're calling it 3rd and 2, but no problem for Algier, who already has one long touchdown run tonight, and he rumbles his way down to the Navy 25-yard line, 29 yards.
And they're working this right side, pushing, and then it allows him to find that crease to be able to cut back. See that right there. He gets his foot in the ground. The experienced linebacker, Fago, just a step slow in getting into that backfield and making a play. And once he shot and missed, the safeties were split, and he was able to get big yards.
Algier approaching 100 yards in just 6 carries. He's got 88 so far. And BYU manhandling Navy both lines of scrimmage, and there he goes again. Algier running over people for a pickup of about 9.
Look at the line of scrimmage, though. I mean, these linemen are getting downfield. Watch on the right side. There's nobody there. Look at this. It's got to be a blown assignment. I mean, there's nobody there. Wide open gaps. And it's not as if this offensive line needs help, right? I mean, they're jogging downfield looking for linebackers and safeties.
Second down and short. Maybe getting substitutions in, looking for any kind of answer. A couple guys stumble and right out into the flat. It's Katoa who's wide open and he waltzes into the end zone. He has one running, one receiving, and BYU is up by 20.
When you bring a linebacker who's actually responsible, both backers, especially here, nobody picks up the back coming out of the backfield. Right now they're desperate. They're trying to bring pressure, trying to do anything they can to overcome the mismatch at the line of scrimmage. And it's Jeff Grimes just one step ahead of this Navy defense and Brian Newberry right now.
Extra point is true from Oldroyd. And BYU is putting on a show on Labor Day night. 41st anniversary of the debut of ESPN. College football has been such a huge part of our coverage. Pleased to bring it to you tonight. And BYU is showing out. BYU has had it 4 times, scored 3 touchdowns. Just over 16 minutes of game time. The Cougars have owned the front. Lopini Katoa with 2 of the touchdowns. He just caught the touchdown pass, the most recent one. And Navy desperately needs to get something going. A team that led the nation in rushing last year with 360 yards per game and generally runs on anyone. Has 15 yards rushing, just over a yard per carry tonight. Maybe we'll get it on the 25. We've told you Kalani Sitake and Ken Niumatalolo, both from Hawaii, the same hometown, Laie, Hawaii. It's on the North Shore there. Kalani watched Ken play in high school growing up. In 2015, Niumatalolo was the front runner to get the BYU job, elected to stay at the Naval Academy, and BYU hired Sitake, who was the first Tongan head coach in the Football Bowl subdivision, where Niumatalolo was the first Samoan coach, and Sitake, who has gone against Niumatalolo before when he was on staff at Utah as an assistant, meeting him as a head coach for the first time tonight. Navy gets it on the corner with Miles Fells, who is a big pickup, and then we have a flag coming in late.
Boy, great block to get Fells out there. That flag came in, as you said, Reese, very, very late.
Personal foul. Targeting. Defense number 34. The previous play is under further review.
So Kavika Fanua is called for targeting. BYU already without a defender, Max Tooley, who's sitting out the first half after being hit with a targeting in the bowl game in Hawaii. Let's have a look at it here.
Yeah, he right before contact, and it looked like he just kind of settled in and just lowered his head. Boy, that's looks to be a
crown of the helmet.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe that one's going to stand. They're not going to call this targeting. Our rules expert Bill Amanye joins us now as we look at Kavika Fanua with the hit. Bill, what did you see?
I think that's a great reversal by replay. This is not what the rule was intended for. He does dip his head, but he goes across the body. He does not go directly in with the crown of the helmet. It's a good reversal.
But I appreciate you educating us, because there's so much confusion on that. I saw him lower his head, and I figured that maybe that's probably going to be something that's confirmed. But really good job of describing what you saw.
And no question, it was suspect. When he does that and dips the head down, it's suspect.
Right.
But it's an excellent job by replay. I applaud them for that reversal.
And Bill, to be clear, so the fans understand, it's not just about inflicting punishment. When you dip your head like that, you're also trying to protect the tackler to try to keep him from doing that, correct?
No question. A crown of the helmet type hit is more dangerous to the person doing it than the person receiving it.
Kavika Fanua will stay in the game, and proper call enforced by replay, and good defense by BYU is going to bring up 3rd down and 11.
Boy, a guy that they think is going to be a superstar in this defense, a sophomore 49 Wilgar. He made a heck of a play, knifing in from the outside to take the legs out from Morris, and there they are again, 3rd down and 11.
Wilgar was once a preferred walk-on. I think we see why BYU preferred him. Morris with a completed pass. And the grab is made by Mark Walker, and they'll be very close to the first down. And, hey, look.
You know, this is definitely, Navy's going to go for this on 4th and 1, but just a good job of getting away from the pressure. They've been losing the battle at the line of scrimmage. Morris has not had much time. This time they roll him away from that pressure. And they're high on this group of receivers. Walker that time, good effort to give him this 4th and 1.
Navy was very adept at converting 4th down last year. 4th and 1, and it looked as if Morris had a clear path, but I'm not sure he got to the marker in time. For a second, it looked like it was going to be easy.
Well, I think his body got twisted, and if they take a peek at this, it's tough to overturn a spot, but the ball, I don't think, ever got to the first down marker. Watch how his body twists, and the ball doesn't really extend. See how it gets twisted and held back? They might take a peek at that, or they're actually going to measure.
Keenan Peely and Pepe Tanuvasa making it tough on Morrison. I mean,
look at the ball.
Navy needs to hope this spot goes in their favor. The ball is short of the yellow line, and it's short on the chains too.
Really, really good job by the officials with that spot. Because based on the 2 or 3 replays we looked at, looking at it live, he got twisted. BYU's defense comes up with a huge play. They've been hearing all week, the guys, 4th and short, Navy's going for it. Probably got challenged all week to try to come up with plays. They've been practicing all week to defend this. Look at all those white jerseys there, right at that first down marker, and they keep him short by about 6 inches.
That was a great call, Kirk, too. It just a little, I don't know if it's hesitation, but he just didn't quite. And it stuck up in there to get the first down. Over the last 3 years, no one has converted more 4th downs than Navy, though 2 teams have tied them. Army's 1. I'll get your guess on the other one in just a minute. If Zach Wilson takes a shot out of this, he checks it down underneath and a short completion. Out there making the grab.
Big fella going up in the air there.
Got Mason Wake, big tight end, guy getting a little more playing time. Look at big fella.
Big fella going up. 250 pounds.
Still got the ups.
He does. I think he determined before once he got the ball, he's like, I'm jumping over somebody. He said, it's happening. It's happening right now.
Powell in motion against the jet sweep. And Powell is down to 40. He'll be a little bit short of the first down.
Wait,
3rd down and 2 to pick up a 3.
I mean, it's obviously been a really tough start. I just got to go back to Navy. Does have some veterans. Somebody needs to make a play. We saw earlier Fachman did a good job of coming up with an interception. Somebody on this defense has got to come up with a play. Try to get this football back to Navy. They cannot get down early in this game by 4 touchdowns.
BYU's brought in Blake Freeland to tackle, who's wearing 90 as a tight end, to give him some more bulk on that right side, and it worked as they move the chains to get down to the 35. Let's check in with Allison down on the sideline.
Guys, we are seeing a bigger, stronger Zach Wilson at quarterback for BYU. You mentioned the trips he made to California to work with John Beck. He was there 3 weeks in the spring when he didn't have class or team activities. But he was so dedicated that when summer resumed and workouts resumed, he still made the 650-mile drive to Southern California every weekend. He would wrap workouts on Friday, drive down, workout Saturday, Sunday, and be back in BYU in Provo by Sunday night. He did that 5 or 6 times this summer, made that drive just to work out for the weekend with John Beck.
That's commitment, Allison. That's awesome.
He was relentless in his effort because they didn't just hand him the job. It was, he was the front runner and the leading contender, but they started 3 quarterbacks at different times last year due to injury.
But go back to when the whole country was just, everybody was in their house. Like, a lot of people didn't leave their house. And a lot of people didn't go to the grocery store. They didn't, you didn't go anywhere. And here's a guy getting in his car, driving 10 hours to go work with a guy he admires and looks up to, a former BYU quarterback, and John Beck, who works with quarterbacks, to get his work in. That's incredible. There
were some tremendous quarantine stories. Katoa rips through the Navy defense. Wapini Katoa having a huge night. Tommy Lawley in there to make the stop.
They keep running that zone play where it starts one way. That offensive line just driving people, and it can either go play side or the backs are using their vision and cutting it back. We've seen it work both ways. Bottom line is Navy is not stopping it, so Jeff Grimes keeps going back to it to the left and to the right.
Wilson slant and grabs made by Pau, goes to the ground.
And the beneficiary of this great running game is the quarterback and the receivers, because the throwing lanes are going to be there off play action. Those poor safeties, even though they're both veterans and played all last year, they're leaders of this defense. Right now, their eyes are locked in on those backs, because if they're not, those backs are running downhill to them. So they've got to be coming downhill in a hurry themselves.
The jet sweep is Milne picking his way, getting inside the 10. It'll be first down and goal for the Cougars.
Right now, if I'm an offensive coordinator in college football, I would almost get on the phone tomorrow or the next day with Jeff Grimes, because he's putting on a clinic for week 1 with quarantine and all the restrictions and everything that's gone on. This is a textbook performance as a play caller on being one step ahead of a really good defensive of mind and Brian Newberry, just mixing up looks, mixing up formations, play action, physicality at the line of scrimmage. Quarterback is really comfortable and in rhythm, and they look great.
Algier back at running back. Algier has it, and Fagot will stop him right at the 5. And to your point about Grimes, he told us this week we really don't have a lot of different plays, but we can make them look all kind of different ways with motions and formations and different personnel groups.
Yeah, and for people at home that don't quite understand what that can do, if you can affect the defensive player's eyes and their communication, it slows them down. So if they go to a combine and run a 40 at a 4.6, when your eyes are affected and you're not real sure, now you run a 4.8 or a 4.9, it slows the defense down when you give them all those looks.
On second and goal, and Navy needed a big defensive play, and their leader was able to get it. Diego Fagot, an all-conference player in the American last year, makes the stop in the backfield.
Watch his head. Look and see this. He peeks and then decides to go, anticipating the play. Watch his head. He sees it, then he goes. Gets behind the blocks, uses his instincts to make that play. That's a great job there.
A tremendous defensive play that gives Navy an opportunity to get a red zone stop. It's still third and goal, but now they're backed up to the 10 after the loss of 6. Wilson flips it underneath, little shuffle pass, a sort of necessity being the mother of invention as Katoa gets it down to the 5.
They were just trying to set up that screen there. I thought they might look for Romney or the receivers downfield, but they were clearly just trying to get the back out where he had some room to work with, Katoa, but the Navy defense able to keep him out of the end zone.
A little nifty flip from Wilson, but it'll be a field goal opportunity as Oldroyd was 11 of 16 inside the 40 last year, and he is true. So Navy holds him to a field goal, but the Cougars' lead extends to 24.
By Ram Trucks is brought to you by Wingstop. Order delivery now at wingstop.com, where flavor gets its wings.
BYU and Navy combined have claimed the Heisman Trophy 3 times, most recently Ty Detmer in 1990. And that's the season after he led the Cougars into this stadium and a victory against the Midshipmen. Saw Joe Bellino on that list too. Joe Bellino scored the first points ever scored in this stadium. 53-yard touchdown run the year before he won the Heisman Trophy.
How about that?
And Staubach wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
BYU up 24-0. Navy's got 5 minutes to salvage something of what has been a difficult first half, to put it mildly. U.S. Open continues tomorrow on ESPN. Men's and women's quarterfinals at noon Eastern Time. Then at 7 o'clock, prime time coverage. Matches from Arthur Ashe Stadium. As always, every point streaming live on the ESPN app. Osaka and Rogers featured match.
Serena got challenged a bit today, but able to get it done in 3. Been locked down watching a lot of tennis the last 2 days here in Annapolis.
Djokovic.
I saw that. I didn't know that could happen.
A little more careful. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, that should be okay.
Yeah, Alan Morris trying to pass, nowhere to throw it. He's sacked. Another negative play for the midshipman, and there's Wilgar again.
That's a great job of coverage. And again, surprise Navy. Just goes to show you how this first half has gone, but down 24-0. They're dropping back, throwing the football from a shotgun. Coverage nowhere to go for Dalen Morris, who's had a really tough start in his first career start for the midshipmen tonight.
Back to the ground, and Carruthers had the one series in the first quarter. He had a couple of solid runs, but BYU's done a really good job of bottling him up. Isaiah Kofusi on the stop.
Boy, when your defensive line is disrupting things on the interior, just beating up the center and the guards, it really frees up those linebackers to fly and to be able to get around blocks and play downhill aggressively. I know this BYU defense doesn't fear anything of Navy's attack. They're dictating the tempo, not Navy.
Now the third down, Morris under heat. And stumbling around, had a tough time getting his footing in. There's a flag down now, and he threw it into traffic, and they got the first down. A tremendous catch by Chance Warren. There's a flag back there at the 12-yard line.
Block in the back there. Unfortunately for Navy, will come back.
Navy searches for bright spots. You did see the arm strength.
Yeah, but when a quarterback scrambles, in that manner, eventually one of the linemen are going to probably hold or block in the back.
Okay. Personal foul, illegal blindside block. Offense number 72, half the distance to the goal. Repeat, third down.
Luca Fradiani called for the penalty.
Yeah, right there.
Just trying to help out. Zach Dahl was chasing his quarterback. But
good job by Morris, who's trying to keep the play alive, right? And eventually finds a receiver downfield. Looked like potentially a first down, but of course it comes back, and now they've got another third down and long.
22 to be precise. Get it all the way up to the 35. The typically potent Navy offense has been bottled up. Back to the ground with a fullback, hoping that maybe Smith could find some running room, and he could not, and it's going to be another punt for the midshipmen.
Again, that defensive line is either getting off of blocks or they're able to sustain and just kind of hold those linemen, eating up those double teams and not allowing those guards and tackles to get up to those linebackers. The linebackers are just coming downhill and taking away that fullback.
Davies with a punt that drives Milne back inside his own 45. 2:43 remaining in the half. BYU time to get another one on the board before the break.
ESPN College Football, presented by Ram Trucks, is brought to you by Wingstop. Order delivery now at wingstop.com, where flavor gets its wings.
It's been all BYU all the time so far in the first half. Cougars up 24-0. Tyler Algier, number 25, is in the backfield beside Zach Wilson, already over 100 yards rushing, averaging 11 yards per carry, has a touchdown run. Wilson pulls it and keeps it himself and spins ahead for about 3 as we check in with Allison.
So many offenses run the RPO, the run pass option. At BYU, Jeff Grimes calls his offense the RVO, reliable, violent offense. He said it's all about capitalizing on the types of players they have at BYU. They're reliable, consistently playing at a high level. He wants that violence, especially at the line of scrimmage. He said you have to be comfortable physically imposing your will on your opponent. And then, of course, it's the multiple formations on offense when they can run a lot of plays with just a couple different concepts.
Milne has it. Well, tunnel screen looking play. He'll pick up another first down for BYU.
Allison, I would say reliable, check. Violent, check, check, check. With 28 minutes into this 2020 season, he's got to be very happy with his RVO offense so far. This has been, as I said earlier, a clinic. Great timing for that report, because that's what we've seen.
Now perhaps an opportunity to work on clock management early and try to avoid mistakes, but they will not in this case.
False start. Offense number 83. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
First penalty of the night against BYU, and it goes against Isaac Rex, tight end who's in there, and after the injury to Matt Bushman.
Freshman, mature freshman, 6'6", 247, just young, has great size and athletic ability. Of course, you lose Matt Bushman, who see the number on his arm. This team loves Matt Bushman and misses him dearly. I'm sure Matt's watching and really enjoying what he's seeing from his teammates. But Isaac Rex has been asked to step in tonight in that spot.
Well, Wilson dropped the snap and picked it up and made something out of it. Finds Neil Pau. Pau's going to be about a yard short of the first down.
He was trying to get the ball out, and it looked like he wanted to go to his left. See his head peek up there. But this gives you an idea of the athletic ability of Zach Wilson. He's not just a pocket guy. He can move around. We haven't seen him need to do that tonight, but has that ability to create. In that case, almost like a baseball player, just kind of scooped it up, got outside, and found an open man.
Second and short, coming with 1:09 left in the half, as we say hello to Matt Barry. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Reese. Good evening, guys. Coming up at the half, what has been the secret to BYU success? Jesse Palmer has tape, plus what is the must-see game in Week 2, and we're going to go to the desert, get some best bets on the ACC and the Big 12. Here's a hint. The Bear is still running for mayor in Ames, Iowa. If that breaks it down anymore, we'll talk to you guys just a couple minutes coming up at the half.
Matty Berry, the Bear, is a hero in Ames. He picks the Cyclones almost every year.
Well, he is about the Cyclones, very much like you are about the Longhorns, and like I have been the last couple of years about the Aggies. We just kind of refuse to believe that our horse is not going to hit the finish line first at some point, right?
Oh, man.
I like the Bears. Dark horse pick of Iowa State with Brock Purdy there.
Brock Purdy, great coach. Great scheme. They're in every game they play.
Sometimes we'll not finish one they ought to. That's been the Achilles heel. Wilson standing in that pocket and firing it. There's just missed connections out there looking for Gunnar Romney.
Going back to the beginning of this game, the concern of Jeff Grimes was, could we pick up the pressures of Brian Newberry, the defensive coordinator from Navy? He said it could be very exotic. It brings a lot of different looks. Katoa, the back that time, did a nice job of picking up the blitz. Just a misfire. He went from his left, came all the way back to his right, and just threw that ball high to Romney. Took a shot there on second and short.
Had a little bit of a window. They've been very good on third down, converting 4 out of 5 because they've been so effective running the football. And Katoa stretched the ball, but he's going to bring up fourth down. It was an excellent play in the backfield. Jackson Perkins there stopping Katoa.
And it was one of the first times we've seen tonight Navy's at the line of scrimmage pushing BYU back, and BYU's going to go fast here.
Wilson plunges ahead, and he's got the first down.
Again, a small thing, but when you have the veteran quarterback during what these teams have been through and a veteran offensive line, not all teams have the ability to hurry up. If we don't get it on third down, get right back up to the line of scrimmage, real quick quarterback sneak, and execute it well.
BYU still has a timeout left, and the clock will stop for another first down on the completion to Romney.
That time, Wilson just recognized soft coverage to his right, just got the ball out and picked up a quick first down. Nice job.
Wilson throwing it for the back shoulder. Incomplete, 20 seconds left. Farrar on the coverage against Romney that time.
Yeah, Farrar looked like he was grabbing on there a little bit onto Romney. I don't know if he got his arms or the jersey, but it looked like they were entangled there towards the end of that route. Does a good job trying to get his head turned around.
He'd gone out. You saw the official toss the hat there, but Farrar was riding him out of bounds too.
Every time the DB gets his head turned around, officials usually let him push back and forth.
Wilson throwing it right on the money and going for the pylon as a catch by Powell. And he's going to be knocked out of bounds on the 1. So 13 seconds remaining. BYU still has a timeout left, and this is a beautifully thrown ball.
Watch him read this. Goes over top of the safety, right into the hands there of Powell for a big gain, and sets up another potential touchdown here for BYU in 13 seconds.
On the ground, driving for the end zone and stopped short. No, I thought he was stopped short, but the official comes in and signals touchdown with 8 seconds remaining in the first half. So Pini Katoa just kept churning and pushing. Let's have a look at it. Good. I didn't think he got in, but let's have a look.
Look at his leg drive, and then he extends the ball right before the knee touches. I think that's a touchdown. You hear the players, they see the replay on the board, you hear them yelling from the BYU sideline. Look at the lineman, by the way, pushing, driving, and then he extends right there before that knee touches.
How about that? Just by the nose. What an effort by Katoa. Those two running backs is having tremendous nights. Algier and Katoa. They are going to have another look at it as a 56-yard drive that ate up most of the remainder of the second quarter. Our rules expert Bill Amanye is here. Bill,
30 seconds in lane.
Touchdown.
They've got some challenging calls tonight. This is a touchdown. That official did a great job. Ball breaks the plane of the goal line. He's not down yet. Touchdown. Replay should confirm this.
Boy, you're right.
My goodness.
These two backs, you're right. Whew. Algier over 100 yards in the first half, 11 yards a carry. Katoa 8 yards a carry, 67 yards. Has a couple touchdowns.
And a touchdown receiving too for Katoa. So BYU has been really putting it on the Naval Academy here. Very impressive performance by the Cougars. 8 seconds remaining here in the first half. Second half, we're going to have Bill Belichick, head coach of the Patriots, join us as they get set for the season. Bill has a great affinity. He grew up here in Annapolis for Navy football.
Little did he know he'd be joining us for the entire second half to talk. This game may be mathematically eliminated. So we'll see if coach is kind enough to stick around with us.
I hope that game plan for the Dolphins is in right there, because we got some things we need to break down with you, Bill. We're excited to talk with Bill. His father, of course, is a legend here, Steve Belichick, who spent more than 30 years on staff as a coach and a scout and was in this area for well over 40 years. Here's what Bill had to say about growing up around Navy football. He just assumed that's what football was. They were on time, alert, ready to go. Team-oriented, unselfish. Wasn't aware of it at the time, but it had a huge impact on the way he looks at football and molding his thoughts on it. There is Steve Belichick. He is revered in this city. Passed away in 2005. There's Bill, number 50 in the class of 1970.
Think about his father being here from 56 to 89 as a coach and a scout, and helped all the way through. Most of his entire life spent time here in Annapolis, and you can see why Coach Belichick loves this university and the academy and this town.
Well, think about his formative years too. That was a shot of Bill Belichick in 1970. So you go back and he's in grade school, and you've got Joe Bellino, Roger Staubach.
That's cool.
A couple Heisman Trophy winners, some of the early glory days of midshipman football. And Niumatalolo has developed a a strong relationship with Belichick, and he's talked about that many times, almost being appreciative that someone of Belichick's stature would talk to him. And Ken's an overly humble gentleman too, but he is very appreciative of the affinity that Bill has for Navy football.
Well, it's hard not to, right? For all football fans and football people, just because of the way the program is run year after year. Just you're not used to seeing this. You can say whatever you want about whoever they lost. This Navy team, almost every year, if they lose, it's going to be a competitive game. You could probably count on one hand how many times they've faced a 31-0 deficit, let alone at halftime of a game. So give BYU a lot of credit for the way they've looked here in the first half of this game.
No question, over the last 5 years, Navy's been 26-4 in this stadium. Niumatalolo, always the gentleman. He is also a fierce competitor who does not take performances like this very well in the first half. But, I don't think you saw lack of effort. You just saw an overpowering team in white.
Line of scrimmage.
Handling. Kalani Sitake has to be very pleased with a near-perfect first half, Allison.
Thank you very much, Reese. Coach Sitake, first game of the year. How has your team been able to operate so efficiently on offense right out the gate?
Well, told these guys, let's have some fun, man. We talked about it before, Allison, that we're going to play with a lot of gratitude and appreciation. These guys are loving every second of the first half. We got to do it in the second half now.
What's been the key on the other side defensively to keeping this triple option in check?
We got to get the energy up more. I got a lot of dance moves that I want to use in the second half, so we got to get this rolling. I'd like to see our guys do. Anybody can do it for 30 minutes. Let's see if we can do it for another 30.
I look forward to seeing those dance moves.
Let's go. Go Cougs. Thank you.
31-0 at halftime. BYU with a huge lead. They outgained Navy 304-48. Time now to go to Matt Barry and the guys in the studio for the halftime report. Matt?
All righty.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Ram Trucks. You're watching the American Athletic Conference on ESPN. BYU and Navy, and BYU has made its way to Annapolis, and they have imposed their will in the first half. Utter domination. 31-0 BYU has the lead. It is the second largest halftime deficit Navy's ever had under head coach Ken Niumatalolo. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, socially distanced, open air booth. A beautiful night here, but it was all BYU and a really impressive performance by the Cougars in the first half.
I think coming into the game, we knew that the line of scrimmage would be a challenge for Navy, but I think we all just figured that Navy's system would allow them to be competitive, offensively especially. And I thought their defense would be able to get people near the line of scrimmage and force Zach Wilson to have to throw, but that's not been the story. If you're just tuning in, it's been BYU at the line of scrimmage on both sides. That is why we are at the score. We can talk about the receivers, the backs, the quarterback. The reality is both offensive line and defensive line for BYU have deserve all the credit. They've been dominant.
The Cougars were really high on their offensive line coming into the season, and certainly they do have fairly significant size advantage on Navy's defensive front, but their performance has been terrific, and we'll get a chance to see them momentarily. BYU won the toss, deferred to the second half. They scored a touchdown with just 8 seconds remaining in the first half, and now they're going to get it right back. BYU's been stopped only once in this game when Zach Wilson threw an interception, and the second half is underway. Caleb Christensen returning the kickoff for the Cougars, and he doesn't get back to the 20-yard line as we check in on the field with Allison Williams.
We look like a team playing live for the first time. That's what Ken Niumatalolo told me at the half, and he took complete ownership, guys. We told you that they had not gone live. Navy had not tackled at all throughout fall camp. He said it shows. We are not prepared. I took a gamble. I erred on the side of safety and wanting to keep these guys safe, and they're not ready to play. He said, this is the worst I've seen them play, but it's on me. And he added this, guys. He said, if I had to do it all over again, I'd still do it the same way because nothing is more important to me than keeping these guys safe.
Niumatalolo, Allison, the interpretation that he had in terms of the contact tracing as BYU goes right back to the ground and start in the second half, was that putting even linemen against each other one-on-one was exposing them to risk. Should anyone get the virus, and entire groups could be shut down. And so they opted to try to work hard on technique, hit dummies and bags, and didn't go live and didn't scrimmage. And they were readily admitting that they knew that potentially was a gamble for
this
game.
How about him talking to Allison and probably talking the post game and just saying, hey, this is on me. This is my decision, and it's why we don't look prepared.
Well, Zach Wilson looks prepared, and he just threw a seed into Gunnar Romney as BYU is on the move again. That's kind of got Niumatalolo, so he's a complete stand-up guy.
For sure. At that time, the offensive line, as if they haven't taken enough bows tonight, instead of just blowing people off the line of scrimmage, that time Zach Wilson looked left, right, left again, and finally found Romney wide open, sneaking behind zone coverage for a big gain. Had all day to throw the ball.
We mentioned this at the top of the telecast, Kirk. Wilson had a broken thumb last year as BYU runs the reverse. And they got the speedster, Chris Jackson. And Navy stays home, plays it well. Kevin Brennan was the first one to hit him to slow it down.
Brennan does a good job of recognizing, because like you said, Reese, Jackson can fly, 10-2 100-meter guy. And it's a good job. He better get out there and recognize that quickly, or if Jackson gets to the corner, he's going to go down the sideline. And that time, the experience there, the junior, number 7, Brennan, comes up with that play.
Wilson with a little tunnel. Romney has running room, and Romney going down the sideline, still on his feet, and Gunnar Romney will stroll into the end zone with another BYU touchdown.
There's another example of what Allison just reported and talked to Coach Ken Niumatalolo. This is not Navy defense. I mean, this is well executed by BYU, but there's a missed tackle. He goes down the sideline, another missed tackle, another missed tackle, another missed tackle. And then he just goes into the end zone.
Well, that was a little soft pass. BYU scored so quickly. I was in the middle of a thought about how Wilson last year not only had the broken thumb, but was coming off a shoulder injury. And at no point last year, watching him throw the ball, did he throw it with the type of authority that we're seeing him tonight. It's been mostly the running game, but Wilson is 12 of 17, a $189, couple of touchdowns, and Kalani Sitake said he had some dance moves. There's one.
ESPN College Football is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Ram, built to serve. And in part by Wingstop. Order delivery now at wingstop.com, where flavor gets its wings.
One of the great football libraries anywhere in the country, in the Belichick Library here at the Naval Academy. 400 volumes. There are technical football books, books about the history from every era you can conceive of. And BYU is writing the book on precision performance tonight. They just finished a 4-play, 83-yard drive for their latest touchdown to take a 38-0 lead on the Naval Academy. Here is Chance Warren. Warren gets up close to the 30-yard line. And here is the coach of the Patriots, Bill Belichick, a 6-time Super Bowl champion. No one has ever done that, and Bill not only established himself as the greatest NFL coach, he has deep ties to the Naval Academy. As we told you in the first half, his father, part of the coaching staff and scout here for more than 30 years and a staple in the community for more than 40. We're pleased to have Bill Belichick join us right now as we're watching BYU and Navy. Bill, you grew up here. What's your fondest memory growing up of Navy football?
Reese, Kirk, great to be with you. Yeah, that's a great question. There's so many of them that really kind of merge together. I think I just started looking at the stadium. I saw the first game there. I went to those games for probably a dozen years. And if you look across on the other side of the stadium, you can see Roe Boulevard, the 4-lane highway that's coming into Annapolis. And I sold programs. Programs were $1 a piece. Bought them for 90 cents, sold them for $1. So, if we had a good day, you can make, 15, 20 bucks out there and still watch the game. So, but I remember when the stadium opened, and it's just such a proud feeling to, have had our Annapolis High graduation there, to look down on the field and see the famous number 27, Joe Bellino's number. It's really just a great place there when, Captain Bo Copies, that former athletic director, was there. We were able to, do so many things at the Naval Academy with Annapolis High School and, other events there. And so, it was just a great place to be. And I'll always cherish all the memories from that stadium.
Coach, I'd love to ask you about just growing up for the fans that maybe aren't aware of your history here, what it was like to be a youngster and go to practices and look up at those players and growing up in that system, and maybe how it eventually molded you into becoming not just a coach, but the man that you've become.
Oh, I don't think there's any question that it had a huge impact on me, and I don't think I realized it until I, got older and was able to look back and reflect on it. But, yeah, as a kid, I was always, just followed my dad around, and Coach Harden was the head coach there when I was, very, young, like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, in that range. And so I would go to practice and just, hang around the team. And that was the, Joe Bellino, Roger Staubach era. And those teams were just great, not only great teams, but the individuals and the leadership of those teams was just really second to none. And, when you're young, you're pretty impressionable, and I just kind of thought it would always be that way. But then I look back and realize just, how great those people were, and, people like Tom Lynch and the great coaches that were there. Unfortunately, we've had several pass away in the last couple of years. Coach Harden and Coach Rosano, Coach Welsh, and Joe Bellino last year, and then recently last month, Pat Donnelly, who's one of the great players in Navy history, both football and lacrosse. So it was an unbelievable, and I was so fortunate to be around those great people and all the great coaches that were there. One of whom I know you're very familiar with and you worked with is Lee Corso, and Lee was one of those guys that was there for I think 3 years, but just made an impression on me with his great energy and coaching style and aggressiveness, and when I look back, those things really had an impact on me, and it was a great era to grow up in Annapolis and at the Naval Academy, and as great as the school is, it's the people there that really, that make it special. And there's been there's some unbelievably special people that have come through there. And, currently, I was there last year at Coach Rosano and Coach Welsh's at an event, recognizing their lives and their contributions. And, the Naval Academy now under the great leadership of Admiral Buck and athletic director Chuck Gladschuk, and of course Coach Ken, who's done a tremendous job with that program since taking over from Paul Johnson, who really got it going too. They've been established as a strong program for a long time, and of course last year was just a fantastic year for Navy football. So
those 11,
I couldn't be prouder of my association with the Naval Academy and their football program.
Bill, Navy just got stopped on 4th down. If you'd be gracious enough, we'd like for you to stay with us through the break. BYU about to take over. The midshipmen are down by 38.
One, two, three, Army! Beat Army!
We'll see. Sunshine Scooter taking a little drink. We may have to have him jump in his pool on game day now that he's doing it the socially.
That looks a little colder than his pool in Orlando.
Yes,
right now.
yes, it did. Navy got a little spark on offense with his last possession with Perry Olson checking in at quarterback. BYU stopped him on 4th down, so now the Cougars have it back, and it's Tyler Algier who got over 100 yards in the first half. Bill Belichick, head coach of the Patriots and deep ties to Navy football, is here with us to continue our conversation, Kirk.
And Coach, we were just showing Coach Corso, and you and I have spoken about this in the past, that video of him being thrown into the water and his reaction. What are your memories of being younger and looking at Coach Corso and watching him as a coach?
Coach Corso was really made an impression on me. He was at the academy, I think, for 3 years, and he had tremendous energy, just like we see on TV. And he and his wife Betsy, just brought a great energy to the program. When you walked into his office, the first thing you saw was a calendar above his desk, and it was how many days until we beat Army, and he'd rip off one each day. 250 days, 249 days.
That's awesome.
And so forth. So he was just very enthusiastic, but he had a very aggressive style on the field and really motivated players well. He was a great teacher. And I just remember in the 67 Army-Navy game, and those are the days where you didn't throw the ball very much. I mean, 15 passes was really opening it up. But they won that game. We won that game. The Navy beat Army that year at the end when, John Cartwright was throwing to Rob Taylor, and that's how they ran out the clock, was by throwing the ball. And it just wasn't the same then to do that. And that always kind of stuck in my mind. I always remember how, aggressively Coach Corso, he played to win. He just played and coached to win, and so I really admired that. And it was a very interesting year. That the 67 team for Navy, my cousin Tom was on the team, and so I kind of knew the players, and they had a very good team with Cartwright and Taylor, Tom Daly, Terry Murray, Ballsy, and they beat Penn State at Penn State. They beat Michigan at Michigan. They beat Syracuse. They beat Pitt. Of course, they beat Army. And then, they were upset by, Rice and William & Mary, got tied by Vanderbilt and all that. So it was really a great team, and they had a great year, but they, just lost in tough games. And then, of course, beat Army, and so that makes every Navy season successful.
BYU marched it right down the field as Tyler Algier goes in.
Yeah, the one thing that you could maybe take a peek there is that left hand touched before the football got to the pylon. And they'll take a peek at that.
They're going to
watch the left hand. See how good job of transferring the ball to that right hand to try to reach for that pylon. And he did. He just got that left hand down. Looked like to me right before he got to the pylon.
Well, Bill, there are some connections on your team as well right now. I understand that on the practice squad, Paul Quesenberry, who's a defensive lineman here, has made the practice squad in New England as a former Navy player.
He has. He's on our practice squad. We've got him working at fullback, and of course, Joe Cardona has done a great job for us here as a long snapper, and 3 Super Bowls and play on the field, but leadership off it, and we're very proud of him. Last year he raised his rank to lieutenant, and so we were able to pin the shoulder boards on him on a team ceremony. So he's been a great addition to our team, and we're very proud of both of them. This BYU game is very impressive by the Cougars. I remember the last time I remember seeing a Navy BYU game was that Holiday Bowl when Phil McConkey went wild, was running and reverses and punt returns and long touchdown pass. And McConkey was a great player for us at the Giants, and Super Bowl 21, a touchdown pass, in the Rose Bowl, and he was a great player there. My dad recruited him, so
that's great.
Seeing the BYU Navy game just reminds me of that 78 Holiday Bowl.
One quick question here for you, Coach, about football. In college football, We often see
stands. Touchdown.
We often see in college football in today's game, obviously you scout it and watch the way they spread out, play in space, a lot about the perimeter, a lot about the quarterbacks and receivers. Jeff Grimes, the play caller for BYU, and veteran offensive line, physical backs. Can you just talk for the fans, when a team's able to control the line of scrimmage, what that does to a defense and how that's a different challenge compared to maybe, a team that's potentially airing it out and trying to score and maybe having success through the air versus getting pounded at the line of scrimmage, what that does to a defense?
Yeah, well, it's tough defensively when you don't stop the running game, and then really you can't stop anything because you never force the offense into, you never have control of the game.
Yeah.
They can always pick up, a few yards when they need them, even second and long. They can get it to third and short and that kind of thing. So it's tough to control the game when you can't stop the run. And it certainly makes it a lot easier offensively when you can hand the ball off and get positive yardage, and then that slows down the pass rush and creates a lot of space for your receivers in the passing game. So I think certainly the wide open offenses are a good way to move the ball and score points, but I think every coach loves to see a good ground game and really being able to control the line of scrimmage.
Well, Bill, we really appreciate you spending some time with us. Wish you best of luck in the opener coming up against the Dolphins. Malcolm Perry's going to be on the other side with the Dolphins. I know you've seen plenty of him. Thanks so much. It's been a real pleasure hearing how fond you are of Navy football, and we appreciate you spending time with us.
Oh, thanks, Reese, Kirk. I appreciate the opportunity, and have a great season, and really appreciate what you guys do for football and certainly for college football. You make it a lot more fun and enjoyable for the fans to watch it. So appreciate what you do. Have a great year.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Good luck to you, bud.
Okay.
You too. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
There's a great Bill Belichick, 6 Super Bowls. And you know what? You know what's so cool about hearing that is, at least for a few minutes, he was back to being that little kid in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Hero, Joe Bellino.
Yeah.
Then Roger Staubach. And, I mean, that.
Yeah, that's neat. That just goes to show you with all his accomplishments.
Yeah. It's awesome.
For him, he'd rather talk about Navy football than anything.
Yeah.
It left such an impression on him, and to this day, how he runs his organization and probably how he runs practices. I mean, to be around all those coaches, all those years, and all those great players, and the academy and the discipline and the structure, has everything to do with who he is today and the success that he's had. And I love how he's quick to not only want to point that out, but celebrate that. And you're right. His voice sounded like he was going back to being a little guy, with going to practice with his dad.
And I'll tell you, and people who have been around Annapolis and the Naval Academy for a long time certainly have respect, admiration, and appreciation for Bill Belichick. But his dad is a legend in this town and around the yard, too, for all of the time and contributions that he made to Navy football. Injured player down for BYU. I believe that's number 47, Pepe Tanavasa, who started his career at the Naval Academy. He completed his Mormon mission coming out of high school, then came here to Annapolis for a year, and deciding that maybe didn't want to pursue the military lifestyle, transferred to BYU, sat out last year, and has had a good opening game against his former teammates as BYU. Everything has gone right, and look, Navy's always going to play hard. You talk to players who face the service academies, they play hard no matter what. But you're not human if you're not a little demoralized, and you can see it in the midshipmen right now.
Yeah. I was saying to you at halftime, Coach Niumatalolo has not been in this position. I think you said only one other time.
Yeah, second worst deficit when they were down 31-0 at the half.
And any coach goes in at halftime like this, especially everything that these teams have faced. And now, and he told Allison, at the half that, hey, listen, I err on the side of being conservative and being cautious with the players. We didn't hit. We held bags. We didn't do a lot of drills where we were, good against good. Didn't do any drills, good against good, or a lot of contact. And he said, and right now we don't look like a team that's prepared. Be interesting, I think, in these first couple weeks when everybody gets a chance to play, there will be different philosophies and different ways that coaches handled these extreme set of circumstances that they're facing. Some will be a little more physical and trust the testing and the protocol that they have in place within their program, and others, like Coach Ken, will pull back a little bit and err on the side of being cautious.
But you understand the thought process that Niumatalolo had. You look at the contact tracing and the impact it's had, say, at Tennessee in terms of limiting practice availability.
Personal foul, blindside block, offense number 23, half the distance to the goal, third down.
The second time we've seen that call, which has been put into the rules to enhance player safety. We've had a couple of blindside blocks called, and not much is going Navy's way. Questioned about the experience that BYU had against the option. They've shut down Navy so far, and BYU's next game is against Army.
BYU, you could say they're 45-0, and why are they going crazy? They're going crazy because they want that shutout. They're going crazy because teams don't do this to Navy's offense. I mean, they have been challenged all week with assignment football. Play with discipline. If you don't, it's going to catch up to you against this Navy triple option attack. And they've clearly answered that challenge with this shutout so far. So every time they get Navy's offense off, they're going to celebrate because they want to get that shutout.
BYU has the ball back, and they have been an unstoppable force on offense. A little over halfway through the third, Cougs rolling. Football season is back. The All-State bus along for the ride. Kirk, what's your All-State protection spotlight tonight?
Well, the spotlight is this offensive line and the job that they have done. Boy, a balanced attack so far. 235 on the ground, 232 through the air. They've done it in a number of different ways, giving their quarterback time to throw. And let's not forget about the defensive line and the job they've done, especially early in this game against the triple option. They knew they had to take away that fullback and get pressure on the quarterback, Dalen Morris, and it's exactly what they did early.
Looks like Zach Wilson's night is done as Baylor Romney is checked in and completes his first pass. Brother of receiver Gunnar Romney, who's had such a huge night. Now BYU they thought perhaps their schedule for the ages prior to the pandemic. Utah, Michigan State, Arizona State, Minnesota, Stanford, and then COVID and cancellations. And the only game that remained unaffected was that North Alabama game. Even the Houston game moved to be a home game for Houston.
That's only 8 games.
They've got 8 games. They were hoping to get more, but
I don't think anyone's going to want to schedule them after tonight.
Well, you know who they almost had a deal to play the opening game against Alabama when
that would have been fun.
When the Pac-12 scheduled and they lost the Utah game and Alabama lost the USC game. There were talks about it, and then ultimately the SEC decided to play conference only. And based on what we've seen tonight,
based on what I've seen tonight, I would have loved to just their regular schedule.
Oh my goodness,
that would have been great to see. We talked in our preseason show this past Saturday about, is this a year where maybe, with a playoff, is there a potential team that could come off the radar as that 4th team? They would love to have a schedule to be able to prove themselves, that's for sure. This is a good football team.
And we talked about Chris Jackson, his great speed. You see a little bit of it as Romney completes the short pass to him, and Jackson makes it a gain.
Well, it's good to see Romney, who played some last year, come in and make a few throws, kind of get into rhythm, just kind of settle into this game. He's going to really love playing with this offensive line, the way things are being controlled up front. But Jeff Grimes and the play calling does not slow down. They are continuing to be balanced, both running and throwing. Foot still on the accelerator.
In case you're wondering, Baylor and Gunnar Romney are brothers, as we've said, but they're only distant relatives to Senator Mitt Romney. Might be a logical thought. blasting through and making the stop is Diego Fagot on Tyler Algier, who's had a tremendous night. To your point about, look at this.
Yeah, there's Fagot. You know, he's the leader of that defense. Last year made so many plays for that defense. Leading tackler, and first half just seemed to be getting his bearings going up against the physicality of BYU's offensive line and that downhill running game. And you can almost see him and the rest of this Navy defense. And of course, the game's out of reach, but after our first half of being able to tackle, they seem to be trying to be more physical.
BYU putting on the pressure, or rather Navy and BYU tried to beat it with the screen. Look, we've talked a lot about Navy not hitting. We don't know if this is representative of what Navy's going to be the rest of the season. BYU looks awesome. But to your point about being one of the four and an outsider, that's the most unfortunate thing about losing that schedule. Is there's just not an opportunity on there to
You got
to
Army
them.
and Houston.
That's
It's really about it.
Yeah.
That people will pay attention to the final score.
With all due respect to the UNA Lions from beautiful downtown Florence, Alabama, which is not as beautiful as the right side of the river of Muscle Shoals. But
tell me about that.
Nonetheless,
you got some time to reminisce like Coach Belichick did.
UNA is a program that was a powerhouse program. Bobby Wallace, former Temple coach, won national championships there. They have recently, within the last 2 years, I think, moved to the FCS level from Division
No, but
II.
you're telling me about the scenery down there.
Oh, man, let me tell you. There's a documentary about Muscle Shoals. It's the hit recording capital of the world. Great music there. Florence area is great. Quad Cities, God's country. A little known fact, Garden of Eden was probably there.
Oh, really? Little known fact.
Those are the kinds of things you say when it's 48-0 in the third quarter.
Yeah, you never thought you didn't. That's one thing you didn't have on your board.
I did not. There's a lot on my board, and that was not it. We had this, though. How about BYU, the crowning moment for BYU Cougar football? Old Robbie Bosco doing work against Michigan.
I watched every play of this game, and the national championship on the line for BYU. Michigan was 6-5 coming into that game, and I remember Robbie Bosco. That's the thing I remember is him limping around play after play, and some of his offensive linemen trying to almost carry him to the huddle to keep him on that last drive on the field.
1984 national championship. Cougars finished with a perfect season, winning that Holiday Bowl. And certainly off to a great start back in the world of independence, starting their 10th season. It seems hard to believe that BYU's been an independent now again for 10 years.
This is a good football team. I don't care who their schedule says that they're going to play this year. It's a physical team. And as Coach Belichick just talked about, when you have grown men at the line of scrimmage on defense, on the defensive line and the offensive line, you just don't see that every week in college football. You just don't. You might see a guard or a tackle, but to see it across the board, 8 of these guys in this offensive line started games last year.
You might see something similar on Saturday night on ABC from the #1 team in the land. Clemson opens the season against Wake Forest. Teams from the ACC playing almost exclusively a conference schedule, as many aren't. Travis Etienne returning for his senior year.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were somewhat surprised when he made that announcement, but if you know him and his commitment, wants to get his degree and wants to have another big year, you combine Etienne and, of course, Trevor Lawrence and those receivers, it should be once again another really tough offense to slow down with the balance and the big playability of Clemson.
Harry Olsen has looked much sharper in this game than he apparently did in practices because Dalen Morris left no doubt, but the offense has moved better, albeit certainly the game was out of reach by the time Perry came in, but he has given them a bit of a spark. And get on the corner. There's Miles Fells for running room, and most productive offensive play of the night for the midshipmen as we check in with Allison.
Well, I know it's been tough out there for Navy, but it wasn't for a lack of work. You saw Miles Fells there with the big gain. He was out at 2 o'clock in the morning with corner Cameron Kinley getting some work in. Of course, the two were quarantined during this time together in a room. What did they do? They watched some old games from last year. They started talking a little smack and said, you know what? let's go settle it on the field. They hit up Dalen Morris. He was game. And they got in some work under the lights. Now, technically, guys, they can probably get in a little bit of trouble. It is a violation of the midnight lights out, but I think they'll let this one slide.
Now, Allison, they talked a lot of trash, but don't they have plans about 20 years from now to work together, maybe in more harmony?
They have big plans, in fact. Cameron Kinley is just an amazing guy. I got to chat with him this week. And he is the current class president at Navy, and he has bigger ambitions. He wants to be president of the United States of America, and the guy he's tapped to be his running mate in about 20 years is Miles Fells. So look out for that Fells-Kinley ticket in about 20 years. They said 2040 is the goal.
That's the goal, 2040. They already get it lined up. I love it. By the way, why 2 in the morning? Just
they were bored and talking. I think they were in quarantine.
All right, yeah, what the hell?
You gotta do. We've seen a lot of Isaiah Kafusi making tackles tonight. Brother Jackson into the game, linebacker, and continuing the stout BYU defense that we've seen all night.
Yeah, part of the reason that Perry Olsen is looking a little better is Kairos Tonga and his group are not out there. That defensive line, that first unit.
Olsen completes it in the flat. Devin High making the grab for Navy. He was stopped in his tracks by Bywater.
I don't know how many tackles for a loss this BYU defense has tonight, but they have a lot. And again, they were one of the worst teams in the country a year ago in getting behind the line of scrimmage. 111th in sacks, 109th in tackles for a loss. Tonight, they already have 6 tackles for a loss in their first game of the year. So doing a very good job. That was something that they really focused on, trying to become more aggressive and get into the backfield of their opponent. It's worked tonight.
48-yard field goal attempt from Navy's fine kicker, Bijan Nichols, who had a couple of game winners last season in their 11-win campaign, and the Mids are on the board. 48-3. Now the score is Sataki's team will not get the shutout. Here's a look. Spectacular Annapolis Docks, the national championship trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. And just the fact, and in light of everything that's happened over the last 6 months, just to have an opportunity to have a college football season. We hope and pray that everything goes well and the players and everybody surrounding it stays safe. Here's the adjusted schedule for the college football playoff. The first rankings release have been pushed back to November 17th. The selection show will now be on December 20th, with some of the conference championship games being on the 19th.
This is good information. I didn't even know this. I got to write these dates down. December 20th,
November 17th. Yeah. Make sure you got the camera at the house fired up.
And then I got to go into Connecticut on the 20th.
On the 20th. Well, that remains to be seen. We'll see what the situation is with travel and everything.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. By then, we don't know what's going on.
Hopeful.
You may be solo there.
Give America what it wants.
No, Bear will be there.
Bear's always there.
He'll be in his den.
Bear's very relaxed.
Very soft-spoken.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's worried about other studios next morning.
You like that side of Bear when he's soft-spoken?
I like when he's upset and mad. I like when he's fired up.
You get fired up about ESPN's NBA coverage. Conference semis roll on Wednesday night, 6:30. Is the Raptors and the Celtics, and at 9 the Clippers and the Nuggets. 6 o'clock Eastern Time NBA Countdown presented by Mountain Dew. And there have been really exciting playoff games in the NBA. They've been able to operate effectively in the bubble. And BYU has managed its circumstances well. Not one person in the traveling party that BYU had planned to bring from Provo to Annapolis, unable to come due to any COVID test or contact tracing. And the Cougars have made their trip across the country really worthwhile. Jackson McChesney is now into the game. He got some playing time last year against UMass and had a huge day with 228 yards.
I always say this, but when a game gets like this and the team that's winning, I like to look at the guys who are starting, who are now out of the game, if they're on the sideline kind of messing around or if they're standing up watching. And this gives you an idea of BYU. All these guys who were starting, some of them are holding signs. and they're contributing, and they're cheering on these guys that are going into the game after them. It kind of just shows you the bond, how tight this team is when you see things like that.
You saw Tyler Allgeier's numbers, 132 yards on the ground for a guy who's played on both sides of the ball in his career at BYU. And man, oh man, does he look like a running back tonight as the Cougars headed to the fourth quarter with a 48-3 lead and plenty of time to work on the dance moves to celebrate. Fourth quarter about to start. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Ram Trucks. As we continue, Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. Tyler Allgeier and the Cougars have put up more than 500 yards of offense on Navy. Allgeier with 132 yards, couple of touchdowns. Backfield mate Lopini Katoa, the other running back, couple of touchdowns on the ground. He's also caught a touchdown pass. Got a Romney over 100 yards receiving, and Zach Wilson's night is done. He's in the vest now. There's Katoa. There's been utter domination, really, from the first play from scrimmage for Keilani Sitake's team. And we start the fourth quarter. Second down and 3. BYU getting its backups and younger players some playing time here is McChesney. A short gain, he'll bring up third down.
You know, early in the year, you know, and still such a, you know, if everything goes okay with COVID and teams are able to continue to play football, obviously there's a long way to go this season. And you really start to, these early games, you start to find out about maybe players as a coaching staff you missed on, maybe didn't quite give them the opportunity. So these guys that are playing right now on both sides of the ball are looking to play well and do the best that they can to try to earn some serious playing time down the road.
Chesney makes one man miss, but unable to get to the first down line. And it is important. There have only been a couple of times in the last 10 years that BYU has made it through a season starting only one quarterback. For instance, last year they ended up starting 3. Baylor Romney, who's in the game now, played quite a bit. Certainly we're hopeful that that trend does not continue. There was Zach Wilson as well as he's played tonight, but it is important to get guys some playing time.
Yeah, and I really think that you just talked about the quarterback position, but you can look at the offensive line position, you can look at the running back position, you can look at the secondary, you can look at the linebackers. They've been through a lot of players and injuries, more than anybody else in the country over the last couple of years. And I think getting through that on the back end is this: a veteran team where a lot of guys have played a lot of football, and now they're all healthy, and now they've got that experience, and they're dangerous.
After the 56-yard punt, Mark Walker with the return. Navy will have it back. Let's take a look at tonight's hardest working player, brought to you by Duluth Trading Company.
But it's hard to find the hardest working guy because there have been so many of them. But Tyler Allgeier, the running back, has done a great job tonight, over 100 yards. Keep in mind, this guy played some linebacker last year. Not only is he working hard on the field, he's working hard off the field. Got over 100 yards. Now he's trying to signal in the plays to help the coaches out.
BYU is getting all the help it needs from the defense, reserves, another tackle for loss from the Cougars. And Allgeier has put up some serious numbers, career highs, both in carries and yards. As Kirk mentioned, he's played some defense in his career. Could have given that hardest working award to any number of guys up front blocking for him, too.
Offensive line, for sure. Barrington, the left guard's had a great night.
Fouls on the option before he is knocked down in the open field by Drew Jensen.
Again, I said this earlier, but I think fans are going to really find it interesting as you watch college football and NFL. You're not going to have a lot of fans, and the audio is going to be coming from the sidelines, and the oohs and the ahs are usually up in the stands, and now you're hearing it from the players, you know, and hearing some of those natural reactions.
Gary Olson escapes, at least for a while. I should have added the phrase momentarily before George Udo was there to finish him off.
BYU is still coming after this Navy offense with pressure, doing a good job of getting that penetration. And then look at these white jerseys. I mean, they are relentless tonight at coming after the quarterback. Just no chance to get away from 3 or 4 different white jerseys.
Daniel Davies punting to Dax Milne, who stands right at the 50. And the flags fly. And it'll be a false start.
False start. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
7th penalty tonight for Navy.
And in and of itself, highly unusual.
Exactly. The big question is, Coach Ken talked about how he didn't do a lot of hitting and let's be safe.
What happens now?
To play like this, now what? Do you continue to practice that way? Is that his new reality this year? Or will he say, you know what, we're going to go out and hit? And we'll have to wait and see. I know safety is first for him.
That's the tough thing, but he has higher standards than what he's gotten from his team tonight.
ESPN College Football, presented by Ram Trucks, is brought to you by Wingstop. Order delivery now at wingstop.com, where flavor gets its wings.
I want to give you a little look at the brigade. That's obviously dated footage. No mask from there among the 4,400 midshipmen here. Here at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, all the theaters in which the Navy or the Marines have fought over the years memorialized on the facade of the stadium. And the Navy mascot, Bill the Goat, the bronze version out there. Bill not able to attend due to COVID restrictions typically, and got some goat handlers, Team Bill from the 8th Company that handle the guys. As it turns out, the goats that I've seen tonight, the guys that look like the greatest of all time, or at least the greatest tonight, are all wearing white out there.
No doubt.
BYU has been sensational.
Traveled a long way for this game and came out early, playing with a chip on their shoulder, and haven't looked back.
They finished the last year 7-6 last season. A couple of disappointing losses at the end to San Diego State and in the Hawaii Bowl to Hawaii. And that was Romney and his back, miscommunication and tackle for loss. Ian Blake there to make this stop. Now we saw the Bill the Goat statue, and there's Cosmo the Cougar, the BYU mascot. This is one of your favorites.
This guy, he gets after it. He's gone to a whole nother level. He gets out there and just.
And now we see there's an entire dancing culture at BYU. I think during the early part of the quarantine, if memory serves, there was a social media thing between former Cougar Reno Mahi and Kalani Sitake and some of the other coaches where they were having like virtual dance-offs. You see Kalani's been practicing during the game, celebrating touchdowns tonight.
I was going to say, he's had plenty to dance about tonight. I don't think he can get in there with Cosmo, but I mean, he does a nice job. Here he is. Let's see, compare him to Cosmo. Oh, here he is tonight.
Let's see what we got.
They're having fun tonight.
Well, they should.
I had him on Lee Corso, Mike Tirico, and I used to bang into Provo for Thursday night football. And
when he played?
When he played. He was a physical player, good player.
Yes, he was. Running back at BYU, injury derailed his opportunity in the NFL, but he is at his alma mater doing a terrific job as the head coach there after doing a really good job for Kyle Whittingham as an assistant at Utah for a number of years.
You know how they bring players into our production meetings. He was one of those players that would come in, and I just always enjoyed talking to him, even as a player, just very, very mature as a youngster and just very thoughtful as a leader of his team when he was a player. And not surprised at all. These years later, he's become a very successful coach. Great leader of young men.
Inside 8.5 to go. Jackson McChesney. And you can hear the sounds. And as much as we love the crowd noise, it's a different dimension of the coverage.
That's what I was
saying.
saying.
Some things that
like these are sounds that have always been out there that you just have never heard. You know, the line, if you really listen, they make calls. You know, it's a lucky or a Ringo. There's just so much communication between the referee and the players to one another and the sideline to the field. You know, I think people are going to have an ability to see and hear that side of it, the game that they've never had a chance to do.
Though our audio operators in some cases might be challenged at times. Be aware that the kids might hear some salty language as McChesney dances into the end zone and BYU continues to pour it on.
That zone play has worked all night. No matter which running back's in the game, no matter which offensive linemen are in the game, presses it, nice little lateral jump cut, and then is able to get into that second level and gets around those linebackers. Good angles for the linemen when they get up to those backers. He just kind of hiding behind them, bouncing left, bouncing right, and then speed into the end zone.
BYU rolls it to double nickels. Counted all the way to 55.
I'm not going to shave or cut my hair until I can throw a football again. Like a legit NFL pass to one of my teammates.
Apparently he can do that now. You can see the return of Big Ben. Steelers and Giants, part of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. Titans and Broncos will follow him. And I know you're looking forward to seeing Big Ben in person come Monday night. And there's the doubleheader. First game at 7. Then it'll follow at 10:15 with the Titans and Broncos.
Yeah, looking forward to calling that game in New York next Monday night, and had a chance to catch up with Ben a few days ago. Just talked to him about his elbow surgery and the recovery and how he's feeling. His weight's down. You know, it almost feels like he did his first or second year as far as the type of shape he's in and the arm. He said he's felt pain in that elbow almost since the beginning of his career. And now that pain is completely gone, which is great.
I was telling you during the break, I called one of his games in college against, they played Marshall. And auxiliary lighting at the stadium at Miami, Ohio, and there was a windstorm like you cannot believe. So much to the point that they were threatening to shut the game down or shut the lights down. It's a night game because of it. Marshall couldn't throw with the wind or against it, because if they tried to throw with it, it just grabbed the ball and, you know, threw it 15 yards farther, because the wind gusts were getting close to 60 miles an hour.
You were in Oxford?
Yeah, we were in Oxford.
Gator.
And when you go against it, Marshall would try to throw. I think Graham Goetner was the quarterback's name. I felt badly for him. The wind would just knock the ball down.
Sorry, Graham.
Yeah, Ben, he threw either way. You couldn't even tell. He was just like throwing seeds.
Throwing darts.
So we come out of the booth after the game, and the wind's blowing so hard, you can't put one foot in front of the other to walk down the steps without getting knocked sideways. And he's there throwing the football through it, just like it's a breeze on the San Diego beach.
We were saying at the break, I don't know if he could have gone to a more perfect situation and organization than the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, the type of weather that they have, the type of franchise they are. He's been a perfect fit and has had a Hall of Fame career there. It's just glad to see he's been able to bounce back from such a scary injury and surgery. So far, everything has been, all signs are pointing that he's back healthy and feeling good.
And the football is on the ground. Olsen got hit hard.
He got hit from behind.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about how many different linebackers and safeties they have. Max Tooley coming from your left chases him down from behind and knocks that ball loose. Combination of two guys. Tooley, yeah, he gets his hands on the ball, jars it loose before that knee touches. Tooley did not play in the first half because of a targeting call in a bowl game from last year, and is now obviously playing. One thing about this group, they've got linebackers and safeties that are interchangeable. Mm-hmm. They bought into this philosophy of recruiting hybrid players that can play a variety of positions. They can cover, they can blitz, they can be in run support, and they've got 6 or 7 different guys in that role. That's kind of a new trend that we're seeing in the NFL and in college football, with the offenses doing so many different things with hybrid players, guys that can play tight end on one play, they can be a fullback, they can split out, and they don't tip their hand with their personnel grouping. So defensive coordinators are responding to trying to find guys that can do the same thing, either be in the box, get outside and play out in space, blitz, whatever it might be. So you're looking for that 6'1", 6'2", 205 to 215-pound guy that's physical but can also run.
Soljemaiava Peters, freshman from Hawaii, is in a quarterback, the third quarterback of the night to play. And McChesney, who had a touchdown in the last possession, is rumbling inside the 25.
By the way, that play works pretty good. That's the same play. It's pretty effective.
Oh, man, oh, man. Coming up next, Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt, highlights and reaction from Game 5 between the Raptors and the Celtics, plus Game 3, Clips and Nuggets. Dustin Johnson, fresh off winning the FedEx Cup, is going to join the show. And bad beats from the weekend in college football. Sports Center SVP next, right here on ESPN and the ESPN app.
We already got bad beats in college football.
Apparently, we have the Bear with Texas State, SMU.
You have to explain.
Okay, bad beats is like, okay. I mean, most of our folks know, because right now, if you have,
Billy Vanell didn't.
I don't even know what the number is in this game, but if you had the over, I feel quite certain you won. And if you laid them in lap with BYU, you're probably in really good shape too. Bad beats is it's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people know.
Scotty does a great job.
Scott does a great job showing the gambling that goes wrong.
Right.
When
it looks like you've won, and then you lose. Yeah, the last second.
If the Bears still with us, did we have one last weekend? I guess we did. Was it maybe Texas State and SMU? I don't know.
What do you mean if Bears still with us? He goes to the end, doesn't he?
Yeah. He said Bears telling me it's not that one. Yeah. We're down to 4 minutes. BYU. Terrence Fong getting some playing time now. Got the ball for the Cougars.
Trying to get to 60, you think?
Soljemaiava Peters. These two guys are really competitive. They're also really good friends, Kalani Sitake and Niamatalolo. But I mean, look, I'm reminded of the conversation between Bobby Bowden and Lou Holtz when Lou asked him one time, "Why'd you run the score up?" And Coach Bowden told him, "I can only coach one team. If you don't like it, you have to stop it." And Navy hasn't had much success stopping it. By the way, congratulations to our old friend and former colleague Lou Holtz, going to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Congratulations to my longtime studio partner.
How many years did you guys work together in studio? A long time.
Yeah, 10 years that I have Lou. In fact, I told him, I said, I was around for twice as long as most of your players, so I put up with more than any of them. Lou's a great partner, great friend. Happy for that honor for him. Inside 3 minutes to play.
I'm telling you, they just call the same play, and it's a zone play that can either bounce or it can be cut back. It's up to the vision of the back for him to try to hit that crease and find it. And a lot of it's been press it, play side, and then come back. And a lot of those the linebackers have been overrunning it. Linebackers have not been making a lot of plays against this run game.
BYU has over 300 yards rushing tonight. I mean, Navy was the rushing leader in the nation last year with 360. This output is more than twice what Kalani Sitake's team had a year ago, where they had quarterback issues, but they still moved the ball primarily through the air. But tonight they've done it any way they wanted it. They're only 21 yards short of having 300. They have 279 yards passing as well.
Kalani Sitake told us coming into the year, he felt that this is, in 5 years, the most experienced, the most talented, most depth that he's had coming into a season. So I don't know if he expected 55-3, but I do think he was confident about this team's maturity and its ability to get ready to play this year.
And it's a shame that they won't have the opportunity against the big teams from the Power 5 originally on their schedule, because they've looked great tonight. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Ram Trucks, as we continue Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. And it has been the game of the night for BYU. They're on the doorstep again. Now, here's the Power 5 conferences and when they start. The ACC starts Thursday night. First team to play is Miami hosting UAB. It's on the ACC network. Remember, Notre Dame's joining the conference in football for 1 year only. Big 12 games coming up on Saturday the 12th. The SEC gave itself its longest runway. They start last Saturday in September on the 26th. And Kalani Sitake already with secure and handing Kenny Matalolo the worst loss he has suffered as the Navy head coach, the worst home loss by a long shot.
That's almost even more demoralizing. They're down to the 5-yard line. Should we score again? Nah.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Let's just take a knee.
Yeah.
That's enough. You take another knee.
What? Look, it's not worth a huge debate, but I've always thought this was worse.
I think it's more demoralizing.
Yeah, I think so too.
It'd be one thing if it were the 50. They're down at the 5.
At the 5, yeah.
Keep playing ball, man. You don't need to.
Yeah.
This is like, oh, it's okay, kid.
Yeah.
Good, you guys, good try.
Well, I think the other thing too that makes it. I mean, look, I'm not criticizing the decision. There's no win for Kalani here. No. He's trying to, he's trying to show grace and class. That's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
But now you have the change of possession here, which, kind of seems to make it worse, and wouldn't be terribly surprised if Navy does the same thing here and calls it a day.
Shut it down?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yep. Well, Reese, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it has been great.
Am I allowed to shake your hand? Or I can give you a
Purell
forearm shimmy.
Yeah. Elbows.
We'll be at Wake this Saturday.
College game day going on the road.
Looking forward to that. First time.
Yep.
This year.
Looking forward to that. And the next game is going to be.
Do they shake hands? They just kind of get close and.
I think these two guys will, because of their respect for each other. So BYU is. Finish it off.
They've been hitting each other for 4 hours.
Might as well shake hands. And be careful from that point forward. Wish we'd had a more competitive game for you, but it was our pleasure to bring you Labor Day night college football. BYU finishing off Navy by a count of 55-3. A game produced by Bill Bonnell, directed by Scott Johnson. We thank our entire spectacular ESPN crew for their work tonight. For Allison Williams, Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Reese Davis. SportsCenter and Scott Van Pelt coming up.